Hello friends, welcome to CEC Live Lectures. Dear friends, we believe that we always try to bring for you different subjects, and under different subjects we try to carry a different topic for you so that it becomes easier for you to get in-depth knowledge on various topics. Dear friends, today we are with you with a very different and interesting topic. We are going to discuss more and more on slow learners and gifted children. Now you might be wondering, who are the slow learners and the gifted children? Dear friends, through this session we are going to discuss on the very topic. In the first half we would be covering on slow learners, whereas in the second half we would be discussing on gifted children. And for the discussion on the topic, we have with us in our studios Dr. Praveen Sharma. Dr. Praveen Sharma is Associate Professor in Hindu College of Education, Sonipat. Dr. Sharma is a prolific professor who has been teaching since 32 years. She has a huge academic experience. She has authored numerous books, and her recent book is on pedagogy of English. She has written numerous articles in various research papers also, as well as number of students are pursuing their PhD under her able guidance. So friends, we believe that today you are going to get a very vivacious session, as Dr. Sharma is ready with lots of information for you. So let's welcome our guest, Dr. Praveen Sharma, once again. Hello ma'am, welcome to the lecture.
Thank you, Geetika ji. Good morning, viewers and listeners. As you are aware that we are talking about the special children in this series, today we'll discuss who are the slow learners, how can we classify that these are the slow learners, and what are their causes, and how can a teacher identify these slow learners in regular classroom teaching, and what should be the course or the co-curricular activities for these children so that they can keep pace with the other normal children. So we'll discuss how we can classify and what are the causes. Let us see who are the slow learners. Basically, earlier we used to use the term for these children, the backward children, but these days we are not using the word backward children because we prefer to use the term slow learners, because while in a regular classroom teaching, the teacher is teaching at a normal speed, they are having difficulty in grasping the material at the speed the other children are grasping, because we are aware that there are the individual differences in every classroom. Some students are bright, others are average, and there can be some learners who are below average. So it is not an easy task for a teacher, rather it is a very challenging task. Within a given time of 35 minutes or 40 minutes, the teacher has to teach all the students who are having different interests, different capabilities and different likings. So how can a teacher classify, and how a teacher can distribute the material, how to teach, how to classify, how to identify, and what should be the co-curricular activities and content for these children. Let us see. Slow learning children represent a group who underachieve in the classroom. We'll discuss about the exact meaning of slow learning, their causes, their characteristics, the identification procedure, the teaching principles with regard to curricular and non-scholastic activities, the responsibility of the regular classroom teacher, and the organization of the curriculum of the children. Let us discuss who is a slow learning child. Historically, the slow learning child has been described in numerous ways. Ingram in 1960 considered them as educable mentally retarded child, and Johnson in 1963 stated that slow learners comprise the largest group of mentally retarded persons. Today, the term slow learners most accurately describes children and adolescents who learn or underachieve in one or more academic areas at a rate that is below average and not yet at the level considered comparable to that of an educable mentally retarded student. Intellectually slow learners score most often between 75 and 90 IQ, between the borderline and low average classification of intelligence given by Knopf in 1987. The common factors can be manifold. They can be cultural, and they can be social, they can be economical, and these factors contribute in making the learners as slow learners, even though their intellectual potential may be considerably higher. Meaning by, sometime it has been noticed that these students, they have the good IQ, better IQ, even then they are not able to achieve, and they are termed as slow learners, are underachievers, because there are the other factors, and among these factors the topmost important factor is parental disharmony. When there is not a congenial atmosphere at home, and there is disharmony between the parents, or the economic factors, or the social factors, all these factors, they contribute in making a child slow learner. So it is the concern of all the stakeholders, parents, teachers, or the other reputed members of the community and the peer groups, that they should cooperate these children so that they do not remain underachiever, because if these factors are just contributing in making them slow learners, then it will be a great loss to the children itself and the society and the nation itself. So, in detail, we will discuss what are the causes of slow learner. First is the emotional and social development. When some of the children, they are not getting the love and the adequate affection at home or maybe at school, then they feel disturbed and they do not take interest in studies, and due to this lack of emotional affection or emotional love which they expect from the elders or from the peer group, then they are lagging behind and their development remains backward. Then the environmental effect, leaving aside the genes, whatever comes is just comprised under the environmental factor, maybe the behavior of the teacher or the behavior of the peer group or the parental disharmony. As earlier, a few seconds before, I was speaking to you that there should be a coordination between the parents if we want that our children at home or maybe in school, they achieve more and more. Otherwise, it can be possible that they remain underachiever because they are not getting the affection and love. Then the truancy, sometime not even a single factor, there can be many factors in making the child a truant one. Maybe the behavior or the partiality done by the teacher, or lack of interest in a particular subject, or the methodology may not be up to the level of the child. So these factors and other many factors adding in it make the child truant, and the child prefer to run away from the class because the child does not find interest in the classroom. So truancy is one of the factor. Due to this factor, the children become underachiever. Then any vision effect, sometimes there is the just some bad effect, or the child is not able to see the properly on the chalkboard, and when the attention is not given or the cause is not find out why the child is not getting good marks, then due to this fact, what happens, the child starts running away from the class and may turn into underachiever. Then lack of proper resources, sometimes the resources are not properly available to the child, maybe the problem of economy due to poverty, or the other resources from where to get the information, or not the proper methodology, then it may also contribute in making the child underachiever. Then the other factor is educational status of the parents. Sometime where in the homes, parents are not educated, they do not understand the needs of these children, and they do not or they are not able to cooperate in getting the things or in grasping the things properly. So the educational status or the educational standard of the parents do affect the achievement of the children. For example, if the parents in the educational profession, so they will talk at home all the time about the educational policy or the methodology, then naturally the child is listening time and again those things. So I mean to say, whatever is the profession or occupation of the parents, it affects the achievement of the children. So educational standard of the parents or educational level of the parents do affect the achievement of the children. Then untrained teachers, sometimes it happens that the teachers are not trained. I mean to say, they are not able to understand which methodology, which content or which co-curricular activities will be suitable to a particular child, because all the time we talk about individual differences. So a teacher has to accomplish this challenging task. He or she has to identify that which particular methodology will be particular for this group of children. Then classroom size, if the classroom size is very bigger, then the might be possible that individual attention is not given to a particular child, because some of the children are like this, they want individual attention and they feel bad that teacher is not bothering about me. For example, if there is an English class or any language class, when the loud reading is done by students one by one, if a teacher asks few of the students time and again that you do read, and that time it may be possible some of the students who are not given chance, who are not given opportunity, they might feel bad the teacher is not giving me the proper attention. So classroom size must be very genuine. Then the schools and classroom atmosphere, the atmosphere which prevail in the classroom and in the school do affect the achievement of the learners, because we are just focusing on why some students are slow learners, why they remain underachievers, because it has been noticed in some of the cases, researchers tell us that sometimes the IQ level of the child is good one, but they are not able to get good marks, they are not able to grasp the content, because these factors which I am discussing with you, they contribute in making the child slow learners or underachiever. Then size of the family, if the child is brought up in a joint family where are many family members, it may be possible the child is not getting proper space or proper attention, then it is possible, it is quite possible that the children remain underachiever. Then physical problems, sometimes the personal physical problems of the children do contribute in their underachievements, maybe some illness, maybe some psycho problem, maybe some physical problems or the long illness or the fatigue, these personal problems or physical problems do contribute. Then some more causes, teaching methods, sometimes a teacher is not able to know or to identify which method will be suitable for a particular child, and the medium of instruction. As these days we are talking about the multilingualism or multicultural in the classroom, so teacher has to see that there are the students in my class who belong to different cultures, who speak different languages. So we are not supposed to give importance to one language. We have to see that all the students who belong to different regions, different religions, different cultures or different society, they get proper attention, and any type of complex should not be there among the students. If some of these students have inferiority complex, it is also not good, and if some of the students are having that I am superior than the other one, then it is bad. So any type of complex should not be there in the mind of the children. There should be a development of a balanced type. Then sociological factors and cultural factors, where we are brought up, that type of culture of that society do affect our achievement. Some specific illness like alexia, dysalexia or the stephosomia, these type of illness also make them underachiever. Alexia is a problem where children have problem in reading, and the problem dyslexia, the problem of spellings, and the third one is trypophobia. Here the students have some problem of seeing the word spellings in a confused manner, so they are not able to see, or they are not able to know how to read the words, so they have different kind of problems. And then intelligence of family members, as I was talking to you, that the education of the parents do affect the achievement of our children. In the same manner, the intelligence, how we tackle, how we handle our children in different problems, and what we teach them, and what we are talking about when they are moving in a informal manner in the family, it also affects their level of achievement. Then the personal factor, sometimes the personal factor of a particular individual, maybe his or her likings, attitude, aptitude, or individual likings, or the sources of entertainment which he or she relishes, these personal factors also contribute in making the children the slow learners or the underachievers. So these are the causes. After these causes, we'll see what are the problems of slow learners. First is the cognitive learning problems, then another is language and speech problems, then auditory speech problems, then visual motor problems, social and emotional problems. We will taking one by one. First is the cognitive learning problems. These slow learner children, they have the problem in memorizing the things properly. They are not able to concentrate on the concept which the teacher is teaching. They learn concrete things in a better manner instead of abstract things. Suppose they see the things. Suppose in very small classes you want to teach them the abstract things like what is honesty, they will find difficulty. But if you show the concrete things like this is a table, this is a thing, so when you show the picture, this is the picture of an elephant, so these kind of concrete things are easily understood by them instead of understanding the abstract thing like honesty or punctuality, because you will have to show the examples, maybe through story or maybe through direct examples, and they learn better in direct method, not in indirect, because their understanding level is less than the other one. They face difficulty in transfer of learning, because whatever we learn, whatever a child learn in the classroom, definitely after leaving the school or leaving the college or the institution, one has to transfer that learning in the real life situation. So sometimes these slow learners, they feel difficulty in transferring the learning, and that is must, because if a child has learned some concept in the classroom and is not able to transfer in real life situations, then there is no use of that kind of learning. So these are the cognitive learning problems which are faced by these slow learners. They learn in direct teaching. Then in the second one, language and speech problems, because they are not good at expression power, so they commit mistakes in speaking, and their verbal expression is not good, and they face difficulty in pronunciation. Then auditory perceptual problem, they face difficulty in taking directions, because their understanding level is less, so whatever direction is given to them, they may be having difficulty in taking the clear-cut direction. They do not understand the verbal instruction, so they are not able to answer it properly, and they are not able to differentiate between different sounds. They are not able to memorize the arithmetical calculations. So these are the problems faced by them. Then the visual motor problems, because they have some problem of vision. They are not able to see the things on the chalkboard clearly. They are not able to recognize the color, design and shape, so cannot establish the relationship. That is why when they make the arithmetical calculation, they have difficulty in understanding when they have to just calculate the radius of the circle or whatever the arithmetical problems are given to them, because they are not able to differentiate between the size and the shape. Their understanding level is less. Moreover, their handwriting is not good. So it depends on the primary teacher and the parents at the earliest stage that the focus on the writing of the student should be given. They should be check time and again that your handwriting tells about your personality. Your handwriting should be good. They learn from part method instead of whole method. Suppose any content or any topic is a bigger one, so it is better when you teach these children that this topic should be just fragmented in small parts, because they face difficulty when the whole content is presented to them, because they will forget at the end. Then social and emotional problems. They have many social and emotional problems. They are quickly tired and cannot sit in the class for longer period. If a class is lengthy, they will try to make the other children disturb, and they will not be able to focus their attention on the content. They respect others, but they cannot be friendly. Of course, they pay the respect to the elders, but they do not like to be in a group, because they are not able to be friendly with the other peer groups. Why? Because they know that their understanding level or their achievement level is less. So that's why they automatically start developing a complex within them that we are not like the other children. So what is the result? They have difficulty when they move in this society, because emotionally they are disturbed. Later on in this series we will be talking about the emotionally disturbed children in a separate category. Right now it is enough for the listeners to understand they are emotionally disturbed, and that's why their achievement is less. So right here only it is important for to understand for every stakeholder, especially the teachers and the parents, that these children or all children should get emotional affection, so that their achievement is not affected negatively. Now, because after knowing the causes, we have to see what are the characteristics, what are the symptoms through which we can identify that these are the symptoms of these slow learner children. Because I have spoken to you just now that sometimes their IQ level is as genuine as with the other normal children. So the difference or the observation is very minute. So sometimes the teacher is not able to know that these are the slow learners. So some of the characteristics I would like to discuss with you, that these are the symbols through which we can, these are the signs through which we can come to know that these are the slow learners, and our methodology or our approach should be different. First is the limited cognitive capacity. Their understanding level is less and their memory level is low. They are not able to memorize things very quickly, and they are not able to concentrate on the things. Their concentration level is low because they get tired easily in a long class. So after some time they start feeling uneasy, they start feeling nervous, and they start disturbing the other students in the classroom. Then problem of language in expression. They may understand the content, but when they are asked to express, they feel difficulty. Actually they are underachiever and the concept is not clear. Sometimes they show like this, that they are the shy, they are the introvert, and they are lagging behind, and teacher thinks that they are shy students, they are introvert, that's why they are not able to tell. But the actual thing, they are the slow learners, the concept is not clear to them. Then the social, cultural and emotional problems. Socially they are not good, and emotionally they feel disturbed. They do not like to be mixed up with the other friends, and they do not participate in the social activities. They are having difficulty in comprehension, meaning by understanding. They do not understand the concepts and easily distracted. Suppose they are performing any activity, and by the other activity very easily they are distracted, and lack of confidence in spellings, they commit mistakes. Then problem in decision making, they just are not able to take the decision. Then How can we identify this slow learner? First technique is observation technique. We can observe students, then the case study method, then medical examination, then academic examination, then personality test, intelligence test, psychological test. We will be taking them one by one. First is the observation technique. How can we observe these students? They can be identified before taking the admission in the schools. We can just test them, what do they know, what is their understanding level, or we can, after getting admission, we can identify them in classroom, in playground, or when they are among peer group and at home also. Then case study method. Case study method is a study of an individual. We'll try to collect the information from the various sources, from the parents, from the neighbors, from the teachers, and from the other friends or the other resources. Then we try to club the information, what is the lacuna in their understanding and why they are lagging behind and what are the causes. So through these case study method, through the information of the various sources, we try to know. Then the medical examination. Sometimes one of the technique is not enough, so we try to club the more and more sources so that the information is accurate. Then the medical examination. Sometimes the information from the various sources do not work. That's why the medical examination is required. Then a doctor can suggest what is the lacuna, is there the lacuna in the brain or understanding level or the vision level. Then the personality test. There are various personality tests like intelligence test, attitude test, aptitude test, and on the basis of these tests we try to diagnose the children. Then intelligence test. Slow learners can be identified on the basis of intelligence test. Wechsler was the first to innovate or give us the intelligence test. So on the basis of IQ we can try to know who are the slow learners. And then the last is the psychological test. On the basis of psychological test we try to know what are the problems. These language skills are tested on the basis of diagnostic test and are used. So on the basis of these test we can identify that these are the slow learners. Now we'll talk about remedial procedure, remedial instruction, healthy environment, periodical examination, personal development, social development. So these are the various procedure. How can we teach the students who are termed as slow learner? First is the remedial instruction. Teacher has to know that we have to adopt a different methodology for these children. We have to just teach them in the part method so that they can understand the things easily. Then healthy environment. There should be healthy environment. Teachers should not be partial to some of the students, because if students notice that teacher is giving more importance to some of the students, they feel emotionally disturbed. Then periodical medical examination is must, because a doctor can suggest that these are the problems on the basis of which their achievement can be better. Then the personal development. Their interest, their attitude, their aptitude should be identified. On the basis of this they can be taught. And the social development. We should try that as a teacher we can give them some easy tasks so that they feel secure, and then they feel that they can take decision and then they can do something separately. Then how to educate. Division of students in small groups, then short periods, use of teaching aids, use of appropriate methods, motivation, readiness, practical approach, concept formation, grading of work, and assessment work of consolidation. Now, how can we part or divide these students in the group according to their mental level or their likings or according to their interest? Then use of teaching aids. When we are to tell them about the abstract things, we can use teaching aids on the with the help of these teaching aids, they will be able to understand. Then use of appropriate methods, like when we see that these students are not taking interest, we have to motivate them that you individually also can do. Sometimes we just keep them in a group, and sometimes we try to give them very easy tasks so that they can feel that, oh, individually I could accomplish this task. And we have to use the practical approach and grading of work. We should give them we give them better grades so that they feel motivated. Then assessment of work should be regularly, and consolidation work, meaning by all the methodology and all the approaches can be clubbed according to the level of the students. So I feel that proper reward and feedback should be given, and extra classes should be given, and parent education and guidance is a must. So I hope on the basis of this knowledge, as a teacher and as a parent, we can identify that these are the slow learners, and we can identify with these techniques, and as a teacher it will be helpful for all the teachers how to teach these slow learners. Thank you.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a descriptive knowledge on slow learners. How they can be helped to achieve the goals is what we learned in this session. Dear friends, please be with us as we are back after a short break. And after the break, we are going to discuss on gifted children. Till then, take care and keep watching us. Hello friends, welcome back to this session. Dear friends, as you know that in our previous session we discussed on slow learners. Now we are going to gather maximum knowledge on who the gifted children are. And for the discussion on the topic, we have with us in our studios Dr. Parveen Sharma. Dr. Parveen Sharma is Associate Professor in Hindu College of Education, Sonipat. So let's welcome our guest, Dr. Sharma, and let's try to understand who the gifted children are. Hello ma'am, welcome to the lecture.
Thank you, Geetika ji. Hello viewers and listeners. In this session, we will be talking about gifted children. It is a very debatable and controversial issue, who the gifted children are and how can we identify them and what kind of education should be provided to these children. These children are an asset to the society, and this is the responsibility of the society that special care should be given to these children. It is equally frustrating if we are not bothering about the gifted children. It is a great loss to the nation, to the society itself. So it is very important for every stakeholders, to the parents and for the teachers as well as, and for them individually, they should realize what talent is hidden in them. So we'll discuss one by one, step by step, who the gifted children are, how the psychologists have defined, on the basis of which category they have defined, and how can we identify, and what can be the education process, what should be the approach, and whether it is genuine to arrange a separate class for them, or separate school for them, or a separate teacher for them, because these days, whereas on one side we are talking about inclusive education, it might appear to you a very debatable, how can we identify gifted children. So let us see, many philosophers and scientists from Plato and Aristotle till present day, they are talking about the gifted children. It is very important because to know who the gifted children are. They are the precious assets for the society. It is essential for a society to take special care of the children. For this purpose, the educator should realize that given proper training, the gifted have the most probable potential for becoming effective problem solvers. One must remember that it is equally frustrating for the intellectual gifted child to slow down the pace of his learning to that of the average member of his class, as it is for the mentally retarded child to attempt to meet standards that are continually beyond his reach. Please notice my words when I say that in a same class there are the slow learners, there are the average children, and there are the gifted children. And I am talking, and every great educationist and psychologist like Plato and Aristotle till present day have been talking about these gifted children as an asset. So what should be the criteria? How can we teach them? Because if in a same class there are the more average children and more below average children, few gifted children, maybe one or two. So if they are ignored, it is really very frustrating, and it is a loss to the child itself, to the nation itself, to the world itself, because you never know who among these gifted children can rise till Tagore, who can become Tagore or Gandhi or the great person of our nation. So it is very important for us to realize how to teach, how to identify these gifted children. So, well friends, we'll see how can we classify them. The gifted children do their work very quickly, because teacher in a class give the work or the assignments of an average level, because we are well aware about the concept of individual differences. So what happens, few children are gifted, maybe one or two, and the others are average or below average. So what a teacher will do, when in a regular classroom teaching, when he goes from higher standard to the lower level for the care of the slow learners, what happens at the time when the teacher is giving care or giving attention to the average or the slow learners or the underachievers, what will be the result? The gifted children will be ignored. And what that child at the particular time will do, he will disturb the other class, or he will make unnecessary queries or more than required queries to the teacher. So sometime or most of the time, these gifted children are termed as the problem children, because whatever a teacher is teaching, that is the below level of their standard, because teacher has to take care of the slow learners and average children. So what will be the result? These children will create the problem in the classroom. Now we'll see how the psychologist has defined the gifted children. Witty, the term gifted or talented stands for those whose performance is consistently remarkable in some potentially valuable activity. Meaning by, when these students, they do the remarkable activity, the witty, the great psychologist has defined that they are the gifted children. Now the other psychologist, the Prem Pasrija, has said that the gifted child is one who exhibits superiority in general intelligence, or the one who is in possession of special abilities of a high order in the fields which are not necessarily associated with a high intelligence quotient. And Lucito, the gifted are those children whose potential intellectual powers are at such high ideational level in both productive and evaluative thinking, that it can be reasonably assumed that they could be future problem solvers, innovators and evaluators of the culture if adequate educational experiences are provided to them. Now, we will see what are the characteristics of gifted children. First is the physical characteristics, we will be taking one by one, then the development and intellectual characteristics, then personality characteristics, family background, social characteristics, learning and education, learning and the negative characteristics. First is identification of gifted children, school progress record. After knowing the characteristics, we will discuss physical characteristics. They are of good height and they are of good personality because they are well built. Then the development and intellectual capacities, because they have high cognitive level, so they are better than the others one. Then the personality characteristics, because they have superior attitude, aptitude and personality. Family background is better. How these children are turned into gifted children? Because their family background or the educational level of the parents is high, their intelligence level is high. Now we will be elaborating these points one by one, step by step. Personality characteristics of these children are better because they are well built and they have superior interest, attitude and aptitude. Social characteristics are on one side the positive and on the other side the negative one, meaning by whereas they have high understanding level, sometimes they develop the ego, that is the superiority complex, which do not allow them to mix up with the other students. So on one side they have the positive characteristics and on another side they have the negative characteristics. Learning and education, because they learn very quickly, they are not tired, because as I was talking to you that there are individual differences. Some students are slow learner and some are average learners. So what happens when a teacher is just moving towards the low standard or the average standard while teaching in a regular classroom teaching? So these children who are termed as gifted children, because they have the superior IQ, so they understand the things very quickly, so sometimes they create the problem for the other students and for the teacher also. So these are the negative characteristics of these children. So how can we identify in a regular classroom? School progress record. First identifying test is the school progress record. Teacher's opinion, we can ask about from the teacher that how is the child's progress, in which subject the child is good and in which subject the child is lagging behind. Then the teacher's opinion, whether the child is social or not, whether the child is just liking to be with the other students or not. So these are the teacher's opinion, because if the teacher is not partial, will be able to give the fair opinion and we can come to know in which category the child falls, whether he is true gifted or on the borderline of the gifted. Evaluation by teacher. Teacher can evaluate the child's attitude, aptitude, interest level and the other personality test. On the basis of these tests, teacher can come to know that the particular child is gifted child. Classroom behavior and approach by observation technique. This is very genuine, because in a situational approach the genuine test of the child is done, because suppose if this observation technique, if I compare this technique with the interview technique, when a child is knowing that I am being interviewed, any individual, maybe small child, maybe the adult one, will be conscious and will try to pose his or her the best one. But in the observation technique, the child is not aware that I am being noticed by the teacher. So this observation technique by the teacher is genuine one, and by observing his behavior and approach, a teacher can judge the child is gifted one. Then on the basis of intelligence test, see how the great psychologists were. The thing that is the intelligence. Intelligence is not a concrete thing. As we can see this table or anything or a pen, we cannot see the intelligence of a person. Even then, psychologists have gone to the extent of putting that intelligence into the digits, that this particular child is having more than 140 IQ and is falling in the category of superior one or the gifted one. So on the basis of intelligence test, we can classify these children that these are the gifted one. Then opinion of library in charge. This is very important. We can consult the librarian that what are the books which are being issued by different children. So if their taste or their intelligence or their reading habits is to be known, we can consult the librarian. But these days we are living in a digital era. Most of the time the children, they do not visit the library, and that they search on their computer and other digital equipments. So but in the schools we can consult the librarian. Then the interview technique. Here, when through interview technique we want to know who are the gifted child, we have to be very cautious while framing the questions, because giving an answer is easy, but making the questionnaire is also very challenging, because on the basis of question in an interview we try to know the hidden talent or the hidden liking of a particular child. Then interest and aptitude test. Aptitude is not developed, it is inherent, as the giftedness is inherent. If I compare this giftedness with the creativity, very back or the long back, when I discussed with you the concept of creativity, I spoke, if you remember, that creativity can be nurtured, but giftedness cannot be nurtured. It is the natural gift of the God. So this talent or this gift given by the God to the talented children should not be wasted. That is why we are focusing on this aspect, that the talent may not be wasted, so it should be identified by the various sources and special care should be given to these children. So, and when we talk about interest, it is inherent and outward as well. Some of the interests are within our genes and some of the interests are acquired from the environment. So from these techniques we can come to know, we can come to identify the gifted children. But these children, they have the special need. So why? This is the question before us. Earlier also, a few minutes back, I spoke to you, when in this era we are talking about inclusive education. So what is the need of identifying and special education of these gifted children? With the world locked in conflict in two ideologies, there is special need to conserve and utilize all available human resources. What Sumpton and others have said in the 49th yearbook for the gifted child in India, the gifted child is both an asset and a responsibility. He is an asset of incalculable value to the society. His potentials for good are difficult to overestimate. Our socio-economic structure, both national and international, demands leadership of the highest quality and keenest intelligence. Whereas may we look for this type of leadership except among those of intellectual superiority? Look, let us elaborate this concept. Where we should look for, from where we come to know, from which sources we come to know that these are the gifted children, because they are the asset to the society. And I am stressing time and again that their talent should not be wasted. We have to recognize their talent. Society is injudicious in the extreme to neglect those children. These days when we are talking about inclusive education, we are not being fair to these gifted children who possess the potentialities of high quality leadership, whereas we have to give care to the slow learners or the average children or the mentally retarded children or the problem children. We have to take care of these children also, because we need good leaders who can take initiative, who can take our society to the altitude, because if we are not preparing these leaders and we are not giving care or attention to these talented children, that their talent will be wasted. So it is the need of the hour, and today we face problems of world magnitude which threaten the existence of society itself. Education is challenged to develop leadership for the tremendous tasks which are ahead. Under such conditions, special education of the gifted is not only justified but is demanded by the lessons of history. If we look at the historical background, and the special care on which I am stressing, I am focusing, is not only demand of the hour, rather the history is also is full with these examples. Why should we be interested in the gifted children? It is not only justified, rather it is important, because if we talk about democracy, we are living in a democratic world. So democracy will be realized in the fullest sense when we recognize the full range of ability within our total population. There is a limited pool of ability and a special talent in every country. This must be identified and developed to save it from total loss. The gifted individuals have played an important role in the preservation and advancement of civilization. Many gifted children languish in educational institutions simply because they are not aware of their gifts, and the school programs do not provide them enough motivation and challenge. We need leaders for the business, education, research and government. These leaders are provided by the class of children. See, let me elaborate this thing. If we do not identify these children, what will be the result? It will be a loss to the society itself, because we need leaders and we need that such type of talent among these children should be identified. So, when after knowing the justification to identify these children, or the characteristics or the signs and symbols or the characteristics of these children, now our next last but not the least focus is how to educate, what kind of education should be for these children. There comes the ideas, three types of ideas: whether there should be separate classes for these children, whether there should be separate teacher for these children, whether there should be a separate schools for these children, because in this era we are talking about inclusive education. So it is very challenging for the authorities also what to do. Is can we allow this talent to be wasted? No, we have to recognize. So we have to find a midway. What can be acceleration? Acceleration is promoting the child to the next class, because if a child is gifted one, suppose there is a child who is in a 4th standard and the other peer groups, they are having low level, and that child who is studying in 4th standard is having the caliber of the 6th standard, can be promoted to the next class, so that the child is among the peer group who is equal to his level. Then the enriched curriculum for these children, or the content matter for these children should be the enriched or the superior one. But now the problem comes before us. Then a teacher has to work hard. So it cannot be done by authoritative method. Rather, a teacher must have a passion within himself or herself that this is the gifted child and I have to work a lot for promoting the talent of this particular child. So teacher has to be very cautious, they have to be very committed, they have to be very dedicated. So as a teacher we have to understand this phenomena. If somewhere not in the class we come across a child who is gifted one, we have to take special care of such children. Then the special schools and special classes can be one idea, but there is the danger of one thing. If we arrange special schools, it will be a financial loss, and if we arrange a special teacher, again it will be a financial burden. And if we arrange a special section, what will be the result? In some of the children, there will develop a inferiority complex, and in these children there will develop a superiority complex, and we have to develop the children without any inferiority complex and without any superiority complex, because we are to produce the balanced personality. We are not to focus on the theory, we have to use the practical approach also. We have to produce the children who are balanced, who are with harmonious development, in all round development, in all aspects. If they are good in cognitive aspect, they should be good in emotional aspect, social aspect also, because we have to see that they have to move in the society. Then emphasis on co-curricular activities or extracurricular activities. What can we do? After recognize their interest and talent, we can organize extra activities for them so that their talent will be utilized. Some of them may be good at sports, some of them may be good at music, maybe painting, some of them may be good writer, may be good poet. So we have to see some. And the last but not the least important is the guiding principles of these children. How to educate? First is the principle of equality of opportunity. This is very difficult to use in the classroom, but we have to accomplish the difficult task. So we have to see that equal opportunity should be given. Then principle of avoidance of conceit and snobbery. We have to develop them a very balanced personality, not with any complex or superiority complex. Then principle of enriched curriculum. Their curriculum should be enriched, something extra can be taught to them. Principle of prevention of bad social habits. We have to see that the bad habits may not develop in these children, because when they find that the class is of lower level, or the things which are being taught in the class are known by me, they start running away from the classes. So these bad habits should be checked. Then principle of education based on child study. These days we focus on child centered education. Principle of all round development, and the principle of special abilities. So finally we conclude that we have to identify the talent of the gifted children, because these talented children, these gifted children are the special gift of the God to the society, to the nation, to the community, to the school and to the family. So I am afraid that their talent may not be wasted. So keeping in mind these factors, so it is my urge, and rather it is urgent for the teachers and the parents to identify and give special care and attention to the gifted children, so that we can produce good leaders and good talented person who can take the nation to the high altitude. Thank you.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for your productive words, as well as for this precious session. Friends, we believe that you might have learned a lot on how slow learners could be felicitated so that they could achieve success in life, as well as how the gifted children can be identified and they could be made aware that how gifted they are. So friends, we believe that if you have any query or if you have any feedback, then do write to us at info.cec@nic.in. We will be meeting again very soon and would be discussing more on children with special needs. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again.
Thank you, listeners and viewers.